Next up for character creation is good old One Ring. So now in the box set and starter set, you can get pre-made generated characters like you see here, Bilbo Baggins. So we're actually going to go through how you can create a character. So now I've pre-generated one already, so we'll go through this relatively quickly and everything. So as I get into go to character creation sheet, so you start here. It pretty much gives you like all the information that you need to be able to make a character. Then you actually get into like creation of characters. So pretty much like follows like pretty much step by step like characters. You have like different types of like characters you can create, like bardens, dwarves, elves, hobbits, men, and then rangers of the north. Gives you your characteristics, so like basically like your strength, heart, and wits. So you got the 3 abilities. So now with my character, before I say with my character, you got skills and combat proficiencies. So this works kind of similar to like the Trinity game in in the sense like the Trinity game, you had this abilities based on like a 1 to 5, and it would give you that many dice to roll and everything. So it works kind of similar to that and everything. But like I think the one thing I don't really care for with this game is that it actually has its own set of dice and everything. So it's pretty much unique to this game. So like these dice that I have like came with the starter set. So you might have to get like your own. You could substitute some D12s and stuff. So but it won't have like the necessary icons like you see here, the Gandalf rune for 12, and then you have like the Eye of Sauron for 1. Think of that like the Gandalf rune is pretty much like an automatic success. The Eye of Sauron would be kind of like a nat 1 type of deal in D&D or like Pathfinder. So like with my character that I made, I call it Anders Cauldron. Yeah, I'm going with the Rangers of the North. So like I flipped to the pretty much like the page where the Rangers of the North. Now, what this does right here is that it gives you the ability to either roll for your 3 different abilities, or you can pick and choose. So I decided to go with 6 strength, 4 heart, and 5 for wits. So now, like down here, what we do, your endurance is 20 plus your strength. So like a 26 endurance. Hope is a 6 plus your heart. So mine is 10. And then wits, yeah, parry, pretty much like what you need is equivalent to AC from like D&D and Pathfinder. That's pretty much how hard you are to hit and everything. So the target numbers is pretty much what you need to roll. So like for instance, you roll on a D12 plus whatever you get for D6s, sort of like Trinity. So like for instance with the I would have like a D12 plus a D6 to sit here and roll to get like above a 14. So that one was a 10, so I would fail. But with awareness, I would actually get 2d10, and since like marks here are also favored abilities, so I'd actually get a 3d10 or 3d6 to roll. And of course, I rolled here pretty bad, so 4, 5, 6, so 13 just failed. So like the same thing like with hunting, 8, 13, 14, 15. So that one I actually succeeded. So that's how the target numbers work. You also have like different proficiencies for stuff. So like you are, we'll get into that in a second. So like you can see here where I got derived the stats, endurance, hope, and parry. And then like I said, the target numbers is like what you need to get. So now skills, you can see here how like it breaks down. The red ones are the actually favored ones right here that I marked as favored. So like for instance, like what you see here, athletics, awareness, hunting. You can see song and craft are 0. So all these I would mark that I have, and these red ones are the ones that I have as like kind of like favored. So I can already see I made a mistake here with not like putting lore as a favored one, so which I could fix as I'm going through. So Combat proficiencies. You can see spears or swords. You can see I went with swords for 2. And then 1 combat proficiency, I went with bows because, like, for 1, I figured I want to be a pretty decent with bows, and they do give you like kind of sample names and everything. So now call-ins, pretty much like right here, is like, okay, well, what pretty much calls you to adventure and everything. So before I go any further, you see here cultural blessing, King of Men. Add 1 point to attribute of your choice. So like I ended up like let's see, 6. Here I can see where I went with 4, 6, 4, 4 for wits, and then that cultural blessing I get add 1 to your attribute. So that's why I went up to wits. So I figure, hey, I want to be a little smarter and everything. So that's where I went with the cultural blessing. So now back to Colin. So like I said, Colin is pretty much what gets you to like out and adventure and everything. So I went with the Warden. So this gives you like favorite skills. You can choose 2 among those. So like I went with healing and awareness for like favorite. So that way, like I said, you get that extra 1 6-sided dice to roll for your abilities and everything to hit that target number to try and succeed. Then you actually get into like pretty much like starting gear. So I went with like a long sword and a bow, and I went with a leather shirt, helm, and shield. So like this kind of like adds, as you can see, an extra dice. A plus leather shirt plus 1 dice, helm plus 1 dice, shield gives like a +2 to parry. So my parry would, in a sense, you see, goes up to 20 because like a shield you got on your arm and helps you block. That's hence the +2 to parry. And then like the leather shirt and helm give you like extra dice for defense or whatever. So endurance and current hope and stuff. This is the adventure points, skill points, fellowship score. That stuff is pretty much dealt with in game. So like I quickly did this for like a starting current of endurance of 10, which is like a rate like a strength plus heart, and this same thing goes strength plus heart for current hope. So as you can see, 6 plus 4 is 10. So for those my endurance is a little higher, which I noticed. I'm like, yeah, I might have to dump something or whatever adventure, and so I might like forego the shield. So as you can see here, we have like the tables and stuff for the actual equipment. Then we get into like a start reward and virtue. So now we here also get into patron. So like here you see the patron. So like who pretty much backs you in your adventuring. So you can see here the different patrons and everything. So like I went with Gilrayan, daughter of Durhale. And so my pronunciations like usual suck. So it gives you kind of like ideas like fellowship points. Basically fellowship points is like your experience. And like every time you get like you go out and adventure, that's how many like experience points you get. So I wouldn't get anything, any bonuses or whatever. Of course, the good thing is I wouldn't necessarily get any penalties. So then like we get an additional advantage. So like for instance, resolve journey events within the old realm of Arnor, as if in a borderland. Choose the meet patron undertaken to receive a rumor. So like for instance, I could be traveling around the borderlands in Arnor, and I get like an additional advantage, additional dice type of deal. And then like you can see here like the agenda that each patron has. Like for instance, Balin has like a reclaim lost strongholds, eliminate enemy lieutenants, etc. Gilrayan, fight the enemy, defend the weak. So that's basically their overarching kind of like agenda of what your patron wants to do. So you kind of go out and do that for your patron. So we move down here, conditions, weary, miserable, wounded. That kind of gets into like the current endurance and hope and stuff, and that deals while you're adventuring. Traveling gear is pretty much like the stuff that you start off with. So like for instance, you see here, Bilbo has some traveling gear like a magic ring and a finely wrought pipe. So I pretty much, you get like an item for like traveling gear. So I decided to go with like a hunting knife to kind of like help me hunt and everything. So this is pretty much like a watered down, quick version of character creation. So like you can see here now, we get, going back to the book. So I do a flip through of this book in a previous video. So this gets into like the experience that I talked about with like adventure points and stuff like that, which you kind of go through and like it deal like later on deals like with the different phases, like an adventure and phase, like the fellowship phase and stuff like that. So like pretty much further into like the books and everything. So we get into the idea of like the skills here, and like I said, like the die rolling that I showcased just before. What we do is like we roll like a d12. Now if we hit like there is a way you can get like advantage to roll 2d12, and then like you roll like a number of like 6-sided dice to be able to roll and be able to do that and everything. So I did, that's why you have 2, so you do have like a ability to get 2d12 to make hitting that target number easier. So this is just like a kind of like a short video to kind of showcase, hey, this is what like the character creation is. So now this is all in the actual like book itself. Now a great way to actually start learning is to get like the starter set. Like for instance, like I showcased Bilbo here. He is one of the pre-generated characters from that, and you do get your own set of dice in this as well. So this is be a great way if you're new to like the One Ring to start learning and everything. So you get like not only like a Bilbo here as a pre-generated character, you get several other characters as well. It gives you an idea on how to like use this dice, and you do get this set of dice. Now you could substitute like a normal dice for those, as I pull out my handy dandy Pathfinder one. So you could in essence like come out with like your own d12. You just got to remember that the 12 would be like the Gandalf rune, and a 1 would be the Eye of Sauron. So you kind of have to like if you don't have like a specific set of dice for this game, you could and of course you could always substitute like the d6 and everything, which is relatively easy because like the only difference would be the kind of artwork and everything. So if you can't necessarily get this the set of dice, or if you're jumping right in with the handbook itself instead of the starter set, it might be kind of hard to get a set of like these dice. So this is where you could kind of substitute regular dice for that. So this is, like I said, just kind of like a quick overview of like a character creation for the One Ring. And this is one of the games I have yet to play. So I mean, I got so many of these books, and like it's a case of too much to do, not enough time type of deal. So, but here is a quick video on like the character creation for at least this. So that way, if you decide to pick this one up, you have like at least a general idea on how to make a character like this. Or like I said, with the pre-generated characters, you could go with this to learn each his own.